I wanted to close a loop on some Ukraine-related matters and then a domestic issue as well. Just first on Ukraine, it doesn't appear that there was any conversation at all between the United States government and Russia while we were in the midst of that crisis where Russia was being blamed for the incident in Poland. Milley came out and said that he wasn't even able to reach the Russians on the phone. What should the Americans take away from that as far as our preparedness for a nuclear standoff with Russia if we can't even get them on the phone in moments of crisis?
So look, we've always been very clear here as you speak about a nuclear, as you ask a question about a nuclear standoff in your words, but we've been clear from the outset that Russia's comments about the potential use of nuclear weapons are deeply concerning, and we take them seriously. And we continue to monitor this as best as we can, and we see no indications that Russia is making preparations for such use. So that is also important, that we do not actually see that those types of preparations or indications, I should say, for Russia making preparations. So as we have said.
You can't get them on the phone.
Well, look, I mean, what I'm saying is that we've been very clear. We've been very clear in public. We've been clear in other conversations. You've heard Jake Sullivan said that he's been in touch in the past with his counterpart about this particular issue. We've been very clear. We're not going to lay out in public what those conversations were, but we've been very clear that this would be catastrophic and there would be consequences. The president has made clear over and over again on this particular issue. But I think what you should take, honestly, from what you saw that morning, overnight, as you all know, there was an explosion in Poland. What you saw this president do is bring leaders from 11 countries to hold a meeting. He did that in about 55 minutes. He brought leaders. Some of your colleagues were in the room, were able to be there for a pool spray and capture that moment. And this is what this president was able to do. This is because of his leadership globally. And you saw him do that at G20. You saw his leadership there. They were and those leaders were very, very clear about where they were on what was occurring with Russia and Ukraine, and calling that out, and saying that what Russia was doing was inappropriate. What Russia was doing was brutal. What Russia was doing was attacking the sovereignty of another nation. And so we have seen this leadership of this president, and I think him saying this publicly, very loudly, about what would happen if nuclear weapons were used to Russia, I think is a loud statement within itself.
Okay, one more on Ukraine. President Zelensky said that Russia's proposed a short truce. Is that something that the White House has an opinion on? And also, has President Biden talked to President Zelensky about his assertions that it wasn't a Ukrainian missile involved?
So let me first say this about your last question. Let me answer that first. So U.S. and Polish officials have been in touch with Ukraine to clarify the facts. Chair of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council has said that Ukraine remains fully open to a comprehensive analysis of the situation. The party ultimately responsible for this tragic incident is Russia, which launched a barrage of missiles on Ukraine specifically intended to target civilian infrastructure. So we have been public about the fact that our information supports President Duda's preliminary assessment that this was most likely the result of a Ukrainian air defense missile that unfortunately landed in Poland. But the bottom line is Ukraine has a right to defend itself, as we have said many times, and Russia should end this war. This is something that they can do today.
And just on the short truce.
I'm sorry. Can you say your question again?
Zelensky was saying that there was a short truce that was proposed by Russia that he doesn't support.
I would refer you to the government of Ukraine. I have not heard those reports.
Very quickly, one quick domestic one. So 58 Democratic lawmakers have called for trading corporate tax cuts for extending the child tax credit in this lame duck session. Is that something the White House has an opinion on or would be willing to
So, look, as you know, the president strongly believes that any bill that cuts taxes for a big corporation must also cut taxes for working families, working American families, working American families with children. So, as the president said following the election, he is proud of how the child tax credit expansion he signed into law helped cut child poverty nearly in half. In 2021, both Democrats and Republicans have put forth tax relief ideas for families with children, including the families who are struggling the most. And the president believes that these are the kinds of policies we should be prioritizing.